Abo Wa'akatu. This is Daku, and today I want to answer the question: is being vegan enough for those that are interested in fighting for black liberation? And not only fighting for black liberation, but fighting to save the planet from the goddamn white man. Is being vegan enough? Now I'm going to read from a couple of books for y'all, because a lot of times y'all think because we so revolutionary, we just talking out the side of our neck and we not doing our research. So let's begin, because I don't have a lot of time and I don't want to take a lot of time. It's a very simple answer to a very simple question. The first book I want to read out of is the great book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, by Dr. Chancellor Williams. On page 310, he says, "The necessary re-education of blacks and the possible solution of racial crisis can begin only when blacks fully realize this central fact in their lives. The white man is their bitter enemy, for this is not the ranting or wild-eyed militancy, but the calm and unmistakable verdict of several thousand years of documented history." Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. If you don't have it, you gotta get it. It's a very important work in our survival. Alright? Now, the next book I want to go into, but first I want you to keep in mind what he just said now. The white man is your bitter enemy. Not because he's white. You think we look at the white man because he's white, because his skin is white. Or not even white, pink really. You know what I'm saying, Brother Tali? Look, the pink man, the white man is your bitter enemy. And it's been proven. He's proven it to you based on his actions, based on his history, his interaction with the planet and everyone on the planet. Alright? So the next book we're going to go into is called AIDS, Animals in Digestive System. America is Dying Slowly. Now, I want to make a statement that's going to be kind of controversial, but it didn't come from me. Dr. Amos Wilson, as we stated maybe a month ago, reminded you maybe a month ago, told us that we got all these people running around looking for the conspiracy. He said, don't you realize that once you've learned about the conspiracy, it's already too late? So people are talking about Illuminati. Where them Illuminati niggas out there? Always talking about Illuminati. Always talking about Monsanto. Okay? It's the latest trend over the last 5 or 10 years to talk about these things. But I'm going to go into a book that was copywritten in 1987, and the data was gathered from as early, from what I can tell, as 1918. Okay? And you talking about the conspiracy. As Dr. Amos Wilson told us, it's already too late. Let's look on page 22. There's an article that was taken from the New England Journal of Medicine. Actually, 3 letters that were published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 1986. It says, the FDA has approved the irradiation of certain foods which are marketed for human consumption, despite many studies citing numerous negative results from the testing of this practice. It is also reported that some microorganisms will mutate under radiation, creating species possibly more dangerous than the original. It goes on to say that we now have a technology at our disposal that allows us to splice genes, insert genes, delete genes, and combine genes across naturally restrictive biological barriers, so we can now, in theory at least, take a gene from one species and place it into the permanent genetic code of another. This book was written or copywritten in 1987. This is 2013. Is being vegan enough? You still don't have an answer? Let's go on page 33. It says, according to top secret Army documents released to the Des Moines Register under the Freedom of Information Act, Iowa State college students were commissioned from 1950 to 1953 to explore the possibilities of initiating an epidemic among farm animals by the release of feathers which were dusted with hog cholera virus. The project was part of the Army's anti-animal research open-air biological warfare test using diseases transmissible only to animals. This was conducted from 1942 to 1954. If you were at war with a country that depended on hogs for food, and you had a hog cholera virus, the country would be at a great disadvantage. It says, on July 14, 1951, 2 bombs developed at Iowa State containing turkey feathers mixed with more than 50 trillion infected doses of hog cholera were detonated 1,500 feet over Florida's Elgin Air Force Base, a major testing center for CBW munitions. 93 of the 115 pinned pigs who had eaten or sniffed the feathers were infected within 18 days and were then sacrificed by electrocution. And for y'all, do y'all still think that the revolution is based on only guns and bullets? The white man is your bitter enemy. All you got to do is look at his history and you'll know that. Now, for all y'all out there that's going to call me a racist and prejudiced, we're not prejudiced. We're not prejudging anyone. We're looking at the man's history. And Dr. Chancellor Williams tells us we have thousands of years of documented evidence that support the fact that the white man is your bitter enemy and the enemy of nature itself. Is being vegan enough? Hell no. Stop deceiving our people. We are so far behind in this war that I think you need to be as honest with the people as possible. Say, okay, it is better to be vegan, but unless you're growing your own food, there is no possible way you could possibly know. You just can't possibly know whether the food that you're eating is actually the food that you think you're eating. While you think you're eating a tomato, you may be eating a pig tomato, a cow tomato, a horse tomato. You have no idea what you're eating. You say, well, the package says it's organic. I don't have to worry about it because the package says it's organic. Well, who put the information on the packet? And who is your bitter enemy? If it's the same person, then you can't trust it. You got to grow and produce your own food. But even the problem with that, to go even further, you grow and produce your own food, and I just told you and read to you where they tested this epidemic, this virus, where they dropped it 1,500 feet in the air. If they did that way back in the 1950s, what the hell you think they doing now? We have to begin to learn to grow our own food. You say, Doc, well, why don't you grow your own food? Well, I do grow food. I do grow food, but I'm not foolish enough to believe that while I'm at the Million Youth March, we don't have somebody behind at my ranch, if you will, disturbing my plant life. And I don't produce enough food alone to support me or even myself or my family or my community. The revolution is a community thing. It's not an individual thing. So remember, the revolution can't be based on guns and bullets alone. You see where the white man is using your food to destroy you and himself even. All for profit. Okay? So capitalism is your enemy. The white man is your enemy. Okay? You need to understand that. So, I don't want to go any further. I think I've given you enough. And if I haven't, go pick up the book, Animals and Digestive System. America is Dying Slowly. It's called AIDS. The author is Michael Joseph. It was copywritten in 1987. All right? And definitely, the other book you need to get if you don't already have it is The Destruction of Black Civilization. We have enough evidence to know that we cannot depend on our oppressor for anything. We cannot trust that anything we're putting in our mouth, even if it is plant-based, even down to the water that you're drinking, you can't trust that anything that you put in your mouth is meant to do you any good. This has been Daku Akabo Waakatu.